Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots. Bootlegger Shills, Nestle, Search Peasants, Vassals, Minions, Meat Sacks. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome. Let's go global today, and I want to talk about the idea of a universal basic income. And this is going to be a little different than a lot of videos I've done because I'm not coming to with a whole lot of information, although some. I'm interested in hearing what all of my regulars have to say about the idea of basic universal income because I know I have a lot of libertarians, and I have a libertarian bend, and friends who watch my videos, and I know a lot of conservatives watch my videos, and a lot of independents mostly, and so I'm just curious what all the different viewpoints are on this idea, because it certainly is the very essence of socialism. But one of the reasons I brought it up is because I came up in some of my videos about robotics and what's going to happen when massive swaths of the workforce globally are replaced by automation and robots, because it seems like an inevitability. And populations grow, what's going to sustain paying, what kind of jobs are going to be there, what's going to sustain the lower classes and the working classes that are displaced by all these new technologies. And so I wasn't really going to do another video about the topic, but then I saw a story about New Zealand is now discussing the idea of a citizen wage, paying around 800 euros a month, and then suspending all other benefits. And Finland and Netherlands are also considering it. In fact, Netherlands apparently is trying it out in a few different cities. And the Green Party in the UK has also discussed embracing the idea of a universal basic income. And certainly for a lot of entitlement programs around the globe, it could be a godsend, because those programs are hard to sustain. But these programs, for example, I can't. Oh, in Finland, I guess it would cost something like $50 billion or 50 billion euros to pay for this universal basic income for all of its citizens annually. So that seems like a pretty low cost way to do it. And of course, it has lots of benefits for the way our societies are set up. If they didn't have to get all these other benefits, and the lower classes and lower working classes were given this money, of course, it would be spent immediately. But it also, another advantage it has in the future, and why it may become a reality, is because of this movement towards no job stability and part-time jobs and temporary jobs. That seems to be the wave of the future, certainly in the United States, with an all-time low, or relatively historically low, labor participation rate, and kids moving at home. And so anyway, this rebalancing may necessitate the idea of a basic income. Like I say, job instability and all these other factors. So all these global societies that are looking at, of course, most of the ones I'm talking about are progressive elements and liberal elements around the globe that are considering this. But let's remember too, for me, this whole idea of a universal basic income it brings up another interesting point, which is the fact that people who fear fascism and government control often look to the far right. They think it's the far right. But in actuality, in a neoliberal setup like this, where everybody is on the government payroll and gets this basic income, certainly they are turning over a lot of control to the government. And just like the chip in biometrics and cards, easily, if someone is a dissenter or is being tracked, it would be easy to track them, as well as turn off their privileges and isolate them so that they can't even survive in a society, because the government would have that much control. Not to mention the centralization of all the information about that person that could be done with a system like this. But this whole idea has a lot of precedence. I know there's a lot of people out there that have a lot more knowledge than I do of the whole idea of a basic income, universal income. It certainly pops up in a lot of different ideologies and philosophies. It apparently has its roots in the Thomas Paine pamphlet of 1797 called Agrarian Justice. But I also know it came up with Huey Long, the Louisiana politician who was assassinated, who was running or potentially running against Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, back in the 20s and 30s, and I know he suggested a universal basic income. So it does have some American roots, but as I say, it's the complete essence of socialism. But what course do you think the United States government would choose if there's massive displacement? Would they instigate a universal basic income, or would they just round people up and put them in the long fabled FEMA camps? Um, so anyway, that's so I'd love to hear your comments below about this whole idea of a universal basic income. I haven't really given it a whole lot of thought so far, but an interesting topic that brings up a lot of issues and ties in nicely with the robotics videos. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?